Okay, good afternoon. My name is Abe Friedman. I serve as the Intergovernment Director for the Borough President. Welcome to Borough Hall. We are delighted to announce our latest hero. This is a program initiative that the Borough President took over when he became the Borough President of Brooklyn to honor individuals that have done heroic things in Brooklyn. We are exceptionally proud when it comes to saving lives, as this month you're going to hear from the Borough President, the hero of the month in January of an individual that risked his own life to save someone else. So without further ado, I would like to first bring up the Chief Chaplain for the MTA, Rabbi Berkowitz, to give his remarks, and then we're going to hear from the Borough President and the other reps from the MTA. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Borough President Adams. Good to see you again, my friend. I got my fellow chaplains over here, Chaplain Seaton and Chaplain Camacho, part of our 80-member team. We in the MTA unfortunately experienced quite a bit of incidents, especially people who unfortunately lose their lives at the subway, what we call men under. And when you have an individual that is able to respond in such a manner, to have that special spiritual feeling of love thy neighbor as thyself, which is the main principle of life, and to be able to rescue an individual, a woman in this case, who was on the tracks, and to be able to go down there, it takes a special person. We all know that we like to help, but when we face dangerous times, dangerous situations, how many of us have the ability to really react, do what we have to do because we want to save somebody else's life? So it's truly an honor to be in your presence, Mr. Johnson, and with all of our blessings over here, collective blessings. We want to wish you, of course, a wonderful future, happy future, and may you never have to experience that again.
Thank you. Thank you, Rabbi. I'll bring up the Borough President just to say that when the Borough President took over as the Borough President in Brooklyn, his passion to Brooklyn was to touch as much as people in Brooklyn, and that's why we are very honored to have the Borough President honor the next individual. And without further ado, this is the Borough President of Brooklyn, Eric Adams.
Thank you, Abe. And you know, Ralph, you join a list of many who have done great things in the borough of Brooklyn, and we are excited about that, and we truly thank you. And so this Hero of the Month is really something that we enjoy doing a great deal because it gives us an opportunity to really take notice of the heroes and sheroes that are among us. And throughout the year of 2015, we acknowledge the great actions of firefighters, police officers, teachers, and everyday New Yorkers that are doing some great things in Brooklyn. And so Ralph joins that list, and we also want to thank those who are here with him as well. TWU Local Vice President for Station, Derek Echeverria. Andrew Isglisby, MTA Assistant Director, Government and Community Relations. John Gato, Vice President and Chief Officer of Station Environment and Operation. And Raymond Diaz, Director of Security. They're here and joining us, as well as the chaplains that are here. You know, I started out my policing career in the Transit Police Department, and I know how many individuals are struck by trains, and what, as the rabbi indicated, what's called man-unders, how many people who find themselves under the train and lose their lives. It's one thing to jump on the tracks when you are unaware of the danger, because then you're moving out of not being knowledgeable how dangerous the tracks are. But when someone does it with the knowledge of the danger of not only being struck by the train, but the moving parts of the track and the third rail, which is extremely dangerous to touch or stand on, it's an indication of their true level of being a hero. And so we're happy to acknowledge today Ralph Johnson, who is our Hero of the Month for the month of January. The incident took place on Labor Day 2015 during the West Indian Day Parade. Ralph arrived at his station a half hour early for his shift. He was doing overtime at the time. He noticed a woman was on the track, and he jumped in the middle of the tracks to save her. And in the process, he stopped the oncoming train. The motorman was able to identify that he was on the tracks, saw his signal, and stopped the train 25 feet from where Ralph was standing. And due to that, he saved the life of this passenger who was on the track area. With the help of New York City police officers, he was able to assist the woman who was in distress and move her to a safe area. He saved her life. When you're struck by an oncoming train, it is very difficult, and not often do someone survive after being struck by a train. And so his action clearly allowed the woman to go on with her life, and he showed how everyday men and women of the MTA play a vital role of not only moving passengers, but ensuring that passengers reach their destination in a safe place. And we cannot thank Ralph enough, and so we want to give him this proclamation. Whereas, on behalf of all Brooklynites, I salute Ralph Johnson, an MTA station agent who jumped in the middle of the tracks at the Franklin Avenue station during the busy West Indian Day Parade in Crown Heights on Labor Day. He waved down a train to save a woman who fell from the train platform. I applaud him for the audacity and outstanding courage to put his life on the line to stop a moving train to save someone else's life. He put himself in harm's way to save a life. I commend Ralph for going above and beyond his duties on that day and his dedication to service with the MTA, serving an exemplary of bravery and heroism. And I thank him for all that he has done for Make Us One Brooklyn. Ralph Johnson, I sign my hand and signature, Eric Adams, Brooklyn Borough President. Congratulations to you.
Thank you very much.
You know, we're gonna have the.
Oh, please.
Well, thank you, Mr. Borough President. Now, I want to thank Derek Echeverria, the union folks for being here, John Gato for being here, and I wasn't expecting all of this. I mean, okay, I got awards from Transit, but a proclamation from Brooklyn. I just want to say this for all my people in Brooklyn. I started out 124 Jefferson Avenue between Bedford and Nostrand Avenues. I went to PS3, 50 Jefferson Avenue. Lived on Atlantic Avenue in Nostrand, lived on Sterling and Utica, so I'm very well versed in Brooklyn. Went to Westinghouse, as a matter of fact. And this is something this is an honor. I can't believe it.
What happened that day?
Okay, basically what happened that day, how it all came about, I did get there about a half hour early. My thing was to go upstairs, get some jerk chicken, get some refreshments, take a look at some of the women on the parade route, and be to work early enough so I could make an assessment of the situation. When I was halfway up the staircase, I heard all this yelling and screaming. So when I turned around and ran back down, when I got to the base of the stairs, a guy with a thick Jamaican accent, it sounded like he said, "There's a baby on the tracks." A baby, it sounded like that. It turns out it was a lady. So as I run down, when I looked on the tracks, what I saw looked like what appeared to be a baby's blanket. She had on a white skirt with red, gold, and green dots on it. So I immediately jumped down to the track bed. When I was leaning over to pick her up, I heard the train coming around the corner. I could hear the wheels screeching, making the turn. So at that point, I knew two things. He's coming around the corner between 10 and 15 miles an hour. He's in the right-hand side of the cab, so as the train is making the turn, he's going to see me as he comes around the turn. So I basically stood in the middle of the track bed in that little spot in the middle of the track bed, basically doing jumping jacks to get this guy to stop. He saw me, he was able to stop the train because it wasn't coming in so fast. At that point, when he stopped the train, I was able to go lean down, pick the woman up, so I had to hoist her twice. Once I got her here, I grabbed her and I could see she had a pulse, she was breathing, but she was still unconscious. Then when I looked to my right, I saw 2 police officers who were working a special unit that day. They were running towards me. One of them jumped down the track. We wrapped her legs up in the skirt. We were able to hoist her up. And then there were 2 other police officers that joined in. They pulled her up. When we got her up on the platform, she was still unconscious. I'm basically standing in front of her like I'm standing in front of you. One police officer was to my left, another was to my right. She opened up her eyes. For about 3 seconds, she fell out again. We caught her, put her in the middle of the platform. I put the bag that I'm carrying back there underneath her head, put a cold compress on her. Somebody had water, we did that, put that on her forehead. About 5 minutes later, she regained consciousness. And I'm the guy that's sitting down right next to her, so I'm looking at her to hear her first words. Her first words are, "You're my hero." And so after that, it was transit protocol is get the information, get her name, address, phone number, age, birth date, because we know we have to write a report about what happened. And I got all that information, and just like I said, her first words were, "You're my hero." As they were taking her out away from us to the ambulance on the gurney, the last words were, "You're my hero." You know, so that's all in a day's work.
Thank you. Going to hear from some of his colleagues who are, not only were you her hero, but you are our hero here in the borough of Brooklyn. We want to thank you again. Give Ralph another hand. We want to hear from some of his colleagues, remarks from the Vice President and Chief Officer of Station Environment and Operation of MTA. John?
Thank you, Borough President Adams. I thought briefly what I could say to Mr. Johnson today for being an extra special employee, and he is that generally for us without this incident. But Thomas Jefferson once said, "Do you want to know who you are? Don't ask, act. Action will delineate and define you." Your actions have been delineated and defined you as an outstanding transit employee, Mr. Franklin. That's why we are celebrating with you and Borough President Adams today. You're being recognized today for going out of your way to help a customer in the face of real danger, and you did it with great personal risk to yourself. You've shown that we are the eyes and ears in and beyond our system, and more importantly, the lifeblood of our communities. I have always been proud to work here, but I am even prouder to know that I have employees like you who work with me. After all, you saved the life of one of our customers and neighbors. Your story exemplifies New York City Transit and Brooklyn at our very best. You remind us and our city that heroes can come from anywhere. The key is that they have something special inside, a spark or compassion, and that inspires all of us. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. And remarks from TW Local 100 Vice President for Station as well. Derek?
First off, let me thank the Borough President and also New Year's Eve, I came through 96th Street, and Ralph Johnson was there. I said, "You the Ralph Johnson that saved lives?" He said, "Yeah, I'm Ralph Johnson that saved lives." But in all seriousness, I've known him for a number of years, a guy of great character, but most of all, just a good person. And if it was your family there, you would want this guy to be there. But also, you know, standing here with management when something good happens, you know, sometimes rules have to be broken to save lives. And once again, thank the Borough President, the Transit Authority, John Gato, and Ralph's, especially Ralph Johnson. Thank you.
Want to open to any questions that you may have for Ralph at this time?